Hello, hello, hello. A warm welcome for day 2 of our Woman Priestess Goddess Masterclass. I am so excited to share today's training with you. Come and say hi in the comments. Let me know if you caught yesterday's masterclass, and if you did, was it valuable to you? Did you have a big takeaway? Did you have an aha moment in yesterday's masterclass? Come and let me know in the comments. Come and say hi in the comments. So just to recap a little bit on yesterday's masterclass, so we are going through Woman, Priestess, Goddess. We are going through Skylar's incredible, gorgeous prophecy. That prophecy is about you. That prophecy is about stepping up into your power. Our foundation of our power is our woman. And we're moving in today to have a conversation today about the archetype, the priestess. And the priestess can't be fully empowered if she has got an unstable foundation, aka the woman is got a poor relationship with herself. So it's not about your relationship to anyone else, it's about your relationship to you. And the woman is really about creating a stable foundation. Once that foundation is really, really stable, it's a lot easier to embody the priestess. So let's have a little look here. So as I was saying, loving yesterday, you kicked my ass as per usual. And first from Dublin, I caught the replay yesterday. I loved it. Let's be the best custodian possible of our woman. Yes. And iPhone here is from New York. You can let me know who you are. Christine says, loving it. Yes. Okay. And Heather is saying, oh, yes. Helen here is from upstate New York, and she caught yesterday's replay. Amazing. So stepping into your priestess, the priestess is the archetype that I think everybody kind of like really rushes towards. It's the archetype that so many people kind of really want to try and embody. And I'm going to be really honest with you, the priestess is very difficult to embody when the woman isn't fully embodied. When the woman archetype is kind of wobbly, there's a lot of self-negative talk going on. It is very hard to embody the priestess. And the reason for that is that your relationship with you is a piece of teaching that Skylar has, that is that you are your own source connection. Now that seems like, okay, Joanna, tell me something I don't know. That seems like a no-brainer, right? That you would be your own source connection. But it goes so much deeper than that, because when we understand that fully and wholly, we realize that the relationship that we have with ourselves is affecting our source connection. And since the priestess has this very uncanny ability to have one foot in the goddess and she has one foot in the woman, so she's this powerful bridge between heaven and earth, and between the unseen world of the goddess and the seen world of the woman. So she's got this powerful and potent bridge, and she's able to navigate the unseen world amazingly. So that's her intuition, that's her ability to know things that she should have no business knowing, but she knows them because she can feel them in the energy, can feel them in the ether. Her ability to read energy, for instance. These are all aspects of the priestess. But on the other side, the priestess has so much time and compassion for the woman, because she's also a woman and she understands. She understands. She's got a temple. The woman's got a house to keep the lights on in. But the priestess has got a temple, and that temple will also have bills, and that temple also has lights that need to be kept on. And that temple is a metaphor for our message or our spiritual business. So we build our temple, and that's the place where we can do our ministry and share what the goodness that we have with the world, or the magic of our goddess that we have with the world. So as we step into this energy, and we step in here for the energy of the priestess, we have to understand that trying to build a priestess from a wibbly wobbly woman, not always going to work out so good in our favor. And this is something that I see as a business coach. I see this again and again and again. I've got women who are freaking phenomenal and amazing, but here's how the journey of their business looks. They come into my world, they're like, yeah, I want to build a business. And I'm like, cool, let's go. And I start giving them things to do. And then immediately they start slamming up against the woman, not the priestess. It's the woman that they're slamming up against, because it's like, they're like, okay, I've got to make a business decision now. Right. Okay. And then the woman, because she's so wibbly and wobbly, she's like, oh, maybe this is not good. And it's the woman that will say to the priestess, listen, maybe we should just get a job, you know, maybe, and the woman will torture the priestess if the woman isn't fully embodied. And so it's so important to do the embodiment part of the woman first, to like really heal your self relationship with yourself. Because when you do that, you open up the bandwidth to truly step into your priestess power. And your priestess power is where shit gets real and things get so interesting in your business. Because your priestess power, your embodiment of your priestess, is embodying this one foot in the unseen world and this one foot in the seen world, which means that the priestess has not just one power base to draw her power from. She can draw her power from the unseen world, and she can draw her power from the seen world. And that's what makes that priestess so, so powerful. Because when you draw it from two energy bases, then you've got more energy to draw from. And the priestess operates from a place of pure faith. The woman operates from trust. You heal your woman by learning to trust yourself. The more that you can trust yourself, the more that you will heal your woman, the more, and you can't trust yourself if you don't want to listen to yourself, right? Which is why we have to listen and honor and be a good custodian of ourselves, because that's how we learn to trust ourselves. And then when we can trust ourselves, then we can move on to the priestess and begin to really embody the priestess, and she moves with faith. Because she moves with faith, she doesn't always need to see all the deal. Like, she doesn't need to see the full deal. She's in before she's seen the full deal, because she operates in the unseen realm as well. And the unseen realm is a realm of feeling. So it's all about your feelings, right? So the unseen realm is when you're operating from that place of feeling. What happens is that you can feel whether it's going to be good. You can feel whether it's going to work out for you. You can feel. But if you can feel that it's going to work out for you, but here's what it looks like when the woman isn't embodied, right? You feel like it's going to work out for you, but then the little voice goes, yeah, but like last time, like you fucked it up last time. You didn't do it right last time. And like and we all know that you ate those biscuits last night, so you really aren't that good. And now you've also had like 5 cookies as well this morning. And yeah, so I don't know if that's a good idea or not. And yeah, if you lean into the priestess is like, I know this will work. And then the woman's like, yeah, but we've got bills to pay and like that. So we can't like go on this like knowing it will work malarkey. Like, are you for real? Right. And so it makes every move like twice as hard for the priestess, because the priestess also has to butt up against the woman. And the priestess, when the woman is fully embodied, the priestess can begin to be fully embodied, because we can begin to really, really move with her essence. And her essence is really powerful and potent, because she operates from a sphere of knowing. And that sphere of knowing is, if you had a chance to operate from belief, I believe this will work. And I want you just to try this exercise with me. So put your hand on your heart, okay? And I just want you to say out loud to yourself, I believe this will work. right? And you can probably feel in your energy system, like inside your own energy, like that feels quite good. Like I believe this will work. It feels quite optimistic, maybe, right? Feels optimistic. So you're like, oh, I'm cooking with a good energy here. We can all tell that. So let me know in the comments if you can tell yourself that, yeah, like I believe this will work. I believe this will work. So it feels quite good, right? So let me know how it's feeling for you. Like feels good, brilliant. Yes, I believe it feels, yeah, it feels, yes, it's like, optimistic. That's how I would describe it. I would describe it as like an optimistic feeling in my energy field. So that feels good. So we're operating with good energy. We're operating from a power base of source, which is awesome. Now let's do something different this time. I know this will work and see what it will feel like in your energy system. So take a deep breath. I know this will work. Tell me what happens to your energy when you say, I know this will work. I know this will work. So Zaya is saying goosebumps, nervous excitement, intense, a big smile, stronger. Doubt sneaks in. That's okay. But let's go into let's believe that we believe it wholly and completely. Like I believe wholly and completely. I know this will work. Try it that way. Firm resolve. Okay. Okay. So for most of you, you are experiencing that as a much stronger energy, right? What I want you, or what I'm proposing here, is that in the embodiment of the priestess, you have the ability to walk with knowing. So how much easier would it be to run your business from a space of knowing instead of just that space of belief or a hope and a prayer, right? And that's only if you can get yourself to the space of belief, because a lot of people, when they first enter my world, they're in the space of an unembodied woman. So they're in doubt and fear. And they're like, I'm watching a scary movie and I hope this will work. Instead of, I believe this will work, or the superior, I know this will work, right? So it's moving. So that is what your priestess can do for you. That's what she can promise you, is to move from this energy of a deeper embodiment. We get to that priestess by embracing the haves and the have-nots of the woman and accepting her fully. And accepting her fully, you can then move up a tier in consciousness, because you're no longer resisting anything in your human consciousness anymore. You're not resisting your human consciousness. So guess what? Now you're in flow with your human consciousness. You're accepting the good, the bad, and the ugly with your own self. Like you're accepting all your bits, your warts and all. And so now you enter into flow state with your woman. And because you enter into flow state with your woman, you can now move into embodiment of the priestess. And the priestess, now you don't have any beef with the woman. So the priestess is free to be who she is. And because she walks with faith, utter knowing, we can begin to embody that and begin to bring that into our business and begin to bring that into our everyday life. And the loveliest thing with the priestess is that she's really magical. She's literally magical as fuck, but she still has her feet on the ground. So she's not like the goddess. And this is why we don't want to be embodied in the goddess all the time. The goddess is wonderful and she's magical and she's amazing. But see, when it comes to like living a human life, she seriously sucks at that, because that's not her dominion, nor is it her domain. Her dominion and domain is pure magic. And that doesn't really translate to doing your counts or your taxes and all of that so much, right? So there's a part of us, if we are going to have a human life, we will always know people who are in the goddess energy, and more in the goddess energy, as I often see them as the people who are the spiritual people. We've all come across them that aren't really have any attachment to reality whatsoever. So they're really like almost quite living in quite a dream state. And they have a lot of issues. Like, not, I'm just saying it like it is, but you know, I'm not judging, but there is a lot of issues because a lot of them find it really difficult to live their human life. They're not having a good time living their human life. The embodiment of the woman can help you to have a good time to live your human life, and the embodiment of the priestess will also help you to enjoy your human experience more. And that's why building your business from the priestess is such a good idea, because her job is to build that temple, and that temple is that metaphor for your business. So a temple is simply a building in which we invite others. Because we live in the realm of online space, we can build our temple online, and we can build this space for people to come and learn certain things from us. And this is where we enter into our ministry era of where we get to minister to other people and help other people. So the priestess has a lot of gifts as well. And these gifts as well become very difficult to navigate these gifts again if the woman is still in her doubt era. If she's still full of doubt and she doesn't have that trust for herself and she has doubt instead, anytime you get a psychic message in your priestess, because it's your priestess that receives all your psychic messages. So anytime that that part of you, that archetype, gets those psychic messages, they come in and you go, yeah, but it's all in my head. Yeah, I think I just made that up. I know I saw that leprechaun in the meditation I just had, but like everyone knows leprechauns aren't really real. Like, even though he was trying to tell me something and it made sense at the time in my meditation, I think I'm just going off the reservation, you know, like I think I'm just a bit nuts right now, right? And that's what happens when your woman is not in trust. So the priestess, how can she have faith? Because there's no foundation for her faith, because her faith requires the foundation of trust, right? And how many of you, tell me in the comments, we're all friends now, right? But how many, because I've done this so many times and I cringe every fucking time that I've done this. How many times has your intuition told you something and you went right ahead and ignored it, only to later kick yourself? You're like, I knew it. I knew it. And yet you didn't act on it, right? Guilty as charged, says Isaiah. Yes. Yes. And then I was like, oh, yeah, exactly. You're like, don't. Every time it gets me, every time I'm like, ah, that's coming when our woman isn't fully embodied. So that, again, it makes that job of the priestess really, really hard. And it makes the job of building your business like really, really hard when your woman isn't always like playing ball, right? Because we don't really trust ourselves. Because guess what? If your woman needs a sacrificial lamb, she sticks you on the chopping block. So your relationship between you and you, not good. And then somehow that's got to translate into, yeah, I'm going to trust myself to make great business decisions. Of course, like all bets are off for you trusting yourself to make great business decisions until you trust yourself. So building on that and building up like this, you'll start to build your muscle for your priestess. And the more that you build your priestess muscles, so that's your intuition, your knowing, and your gifts. So your gifts can be a myriad of different things. For some of you are healers, so you're already channeling those gifts. So you're bringing forward healing. Some of you are psychics and mediums, so you're channeling those gifts. Some of you are channels like myself, and therefore you're channeling those gifts as well. Those gifts will get more and more potent with the embodiment of the woman and the embodiment of the priestess. So moving into the embodiment of those energies. And one of the things that I want to be really, really clear about is the embodiment is a mastery. Mastery is not a like, hey, I took a course and I'm good now. Like it's not a one and done situation. Mastery is the daily habits that you create every single day, right? Can't trust yourself once and be like, I'm good now forevermore. Like you have to keep going back to like the bar. You have to keep going back. You have to keep going back and building and building and building and building. And mastery is a journey that never ends. It's always another, as soon as you reach one level, you begin to realize that there's always another level to master. So it's a continual life journey. It's a commitment that you make to yourself when you commit to that mastery. So stepping into my mastery of my priestess, what that has looked like is entering into an energy that we teach in both divine planning, abundant profits in my world, and we also teach it in the Be Your Own Rescue course, and it's called the Great Exchange. And the Great Exchange is a magical formula for getting anything that you've ever wanted in your life. So the priestess, because she has one foot in the goddess and she has one foot in the human world, she has the ability to interact with the unseen world. And I want you to appreciate the vastness of the unseen world. So Skylar calls the unseen world the 99% realm, and that the physical world, the world that we can touch and feel, is the 1% realm. So the world of your woman is 1%, and the world of the unseen realm is the 99% realm. Now, I remember when Skylar told me this the first time I heard it, it kind of blew my mind because I was like, okay, well, I doubt I'll ever have like any proof for that, you know, because I'm like a proof in the pudding girl. So I like to fight Skylar on freaking everything until I find the proof, you know. So I give them a hard time all the time. I think they're used to it by now. In fact, I think they appreciate it. But that's another story for another day. But here's the thing, right? So I thought I'll probably never get any proof that the 99% realm is the spirit world and the 1% realm is the physical world. Well, a few years after they had bestowed that information on me, color me freaking surprised when I discover that we humans, just take a deep breath for this one because you might need it. We humans, I want you to take a look around where you are right now. Like, take a wee look around where you're sitting. Do you know that your eyes are only picking up 1% of the visible spectrum of light? The spectrum of light that you can see, everything that is everything. You think how many different colors that you can probably see around you, right? That is only 1% because that's all your eyes can actually pick up. And do you know that you're hearing me? And as you're hearing me, the voice that you're hearing is only 1% of the actual audible spectrum. Talk about the 1% realm and the 99% realm, because your physical body can literally only pick up 1%. Do you know what blew my mind about this is this gets into a level of different science, and I know I might go off on a wee tangent here, but I'll bring it back to the priestess. But here's the thing, right? Like we live in this world, and we live in this world where we praise masculine energy. And what I mean by that is that if I can see it, touch it, and feel it, it must be real. It must be real, right? And yet, our limited selves can only see 1% and only hear 1%. Now, we're very, very clever beings. So we've managed to invent machines that can see other spectrums. X-rays are one of those spectrums. An X-ray can see into the body, and that's literally another spectrum of light. Now, there is humans who have got X-ray vision because they've developed the psychic sense of X-ray vision, right? But there's also humans who have infrared vision. Infrared is the scale of color, it goes from violet to red, and then the 7 chakra colors are the visible spectrum of light. On one end, we got red, and on the other end of the spectrum, we got violet. Now, ultraviolet, has anyone seen one of those CSI shows? And you know, like when they spray the stuff and then they put the ultraviolet light and suddenly the blood shows, right? Well, that's another clever little thing that humans have done, is showing a spectrum of light that wasn't visible to our naked eye, but with these machines and with these things, we've managed to create that, right? And then we have the infrared scale. And again, we can't see infrared light, but with infrared light, we can see what's inside buildings. And police use it when they're doing like big busts and things. They see like how many humans are in there because they can pick up the heat signatures of humans, and that's infrared light. Now, there is some humans who've developed the spiritual gift of infrared sight. Like, how freaking crazy is that? Okay. So we now know that the priestess is capable of all of this stuff. But like, here's the thing that really, really blows my mind, because when I sat down and I started thinking about this, and Skylar's saying, well, the 99% realm is the unseen realm, the realm that we don't see, and the 1% realm is the realm that we do see. I was like, bitch, you can't tell me that unicorns aren't real. Because if unicorns just happen to be on a spectrum of light that we can't see, and they happen to be on an audible spectrum we can't hear, they could literally be standing right next to us now, and we would have no freaking idea, like none. And I thought, wow, that's kind of weird, right? Like, that's kind of crazy. So it made me realize that my human senses are limited. And that's not to diss my woman or diss my human. That's to expand my consciousness. What am I not seeing? What am I not hearing? What other information is there? Juicy, juicy questions. Juicy, juicy question. Now, the unseen world has to be felt to be understood. So it's a world of feeling. It's a world of thoughts, dreams, because these are all unseen things. You can have a dream, but that dream lives only in your head, right? You can tell other people about, you never guess, I had this weirdest dream ever. Like, it was crazy, right? But what you saw, what you experienced was yours alone. And even though you can converse with another human and tell them what you've seen, then we have our dreams, like I dream to be a millionaire, or I dream to make big impact on this world, or I dream something else, right? We can have those as well. And again, we can converse those dreams to another person, but the vision that we have for ourselves is ours and ours alone. Now you can start to see what a fucking problem that is. If every time you have a vision of your future, you're like looking for outer validation. Outer validation to people who can't even freaking see it. Like, what the fuck? Like, it's ridiculous. It's like, hey, could you please validate this thing that you cannot see at all? I'm just going to tell you about it, but you have no idea how I'm feeling about it, and you have no idea what the energy feels like in my body, but I'm just going to go ahead and try and convey what the universe tried to put through me. And then I want your opinion, and I want you to tell me whether you think I should do this thing or not. Probably not the recipe for success, right? Probably, I don't know. I'm just speculating here. Probably not the thing that's going to get you over that finish line and create greatness in your life, you know? So there comes a point where it becomes woman on woman, like you on you, that you have to be willing to walk with your faith, and you have to be willing to walk with your trust in your vision, because the thing is, no one else can see it. And sometimes people won't see it until it's in the physical world, and it's in that 1% realm, occupying 1% of the visible spectrum and occupying less than 1% of the audible spectrum. So we have to be the one that leads ourselves. And to us, that is the ultimate gift of the priestess. The priestess calls us to step in to our own power and to be the one that leads ourselves. And this is why I, Joanna Hunter, will die on the hill of self-leadership. Because without it, how are you going to be the one that crosses that finish line? How are you going to be the one that reaches that goal? How are you going to be the one that creates the greatness, the shifts, the impacts, all of those desires that you have that live only in the unseen realm? How are you going to be the conduit to transfer them from the unseen realm into the seen realm if you are not going to be the one? And Skylar teaches, and we teach this inside the Lightweb program and inside the Be Your Own Rescue program, we teach that you are the conduit by which your manifestations move. So it's actually coming through you. Now, it sounds really weird that, because when you're manifesting something, and that's one of the big gifts of the priestess, when you really begin to embody priestess energy, your ability to manifest goes through the roof, because you are able to act on inspired action. You're able to feel into the energy more. You tend to become magnetic to ideas and solutions that help you along the way. And voila, the manifestation shows up. But here's the thing, the manifestation comes through you. And this is where your woman will argue with you. Because she's like, no, I want to manifest a car, and I know that that car lives in the physical world. And I can't imagine you laying in a hospital bed giving birth to a car. So how can it come through you? Like, no, you're talking whack. But actually, it comes through your energy field. It comes through your energy field. And so therefore, when you manifest, and you'll recognize this energy now that I'm about to tell you it, because if you've ever manifested anything amazing, you will know that I'm talking the truth here. You see, the priestess has one foot in the goddess. So one foot in her world says, oh, but of course. And the other foot is in the woman. Oh my God, I can't even believe this is happening. And yet on the other side is, oh my God, but of course, right? And the juxtaposition where manifestation happens is when you are the embodiment of both of those energies. One part of you is like, oh my God, of course, this is inevitable. It is going to happen. And the other part of you goes, holy fucking crap, I can't believe I pulled it off, right? Woman, goddess, priestess. That is the energy that brings our manifestations to life. If a part of you is not saying this is inevitable, aka you're a goddess, you're fit in the goddess, then you are not going to be able to be the conduit, because you don't believe that that thing is feasible and possible. And while you hold the energy that you do not believe that something is feasible and possible, it will remain impossible. The moment you believe, your foot is now rooted firmly in the domain of the goddess, the unseen world, the source energy, the source of everything. Your other foot, because you're a priestess, is rooted in the woman, physical world. So if you are the conduit as the priestess, you become the channel by which that materializes in your physical world. You can swear up and down as a woman that that car existed. I mean, it was made on a production line. It was, you can give all the real world things, but the reason that that car became yours was the conduit that is your priestess. The series of events that unfolded, all unfolded through your priestess that created the manifestation. Does that make sense to everyone? I've not lost anyone. Nobody's like, what the fuck? This is a new language. Let me know in the comments. Give me a little thumbs up, or let me know in the comments if that makes perfect sense. Can you recognize your own energy in that? Can you recognize, oh my God, that's exactly what happened when I manifested something. I really had that, like, I knew that it was going to happen, but then also at the same time, I was like, holy moly, right? Like that kind of weird double energy. Brilliant. Thank you guys. So much sense. Brilliant. Okay. So the gifts of the priestess bring to the table are just this plethora of psychic gifts. Now, I had a very, very old Sikhem teacher back in the day. So Sikhem is an ancient Egyptian mysticism, shall we say. And in Sikhem, what they teach is, or not all orders of Sikhem, but what I was studying, what they teach is that you have five senses in your physical world. And what we call the sixth sense in the physical world, which is like ESP and extrasensory perception, in Sikhem, they teach that it's 365 senses or 360 senses. So it's like an all-round sense, that these senses are many, many senses. They're not just one, they're 360 senses. And if you look at the circumference of a circle is 360. So they completely surround you. And if you think about when people this is one of the things that I've been exploring with my priestess recently, is that that when you are neurodivergent, and I know that many people in my world are neurodivergent, but when you are neurodivergent, you tend to be a three-dimensional thinker. It's part of your way your brain is structured. And so actually you think in 360 degrees, which means that a lot of neurodivergent people are also psychic and also have a lot of spiritual gifts. And the reason that they have spiritual gifts is because spiritual gifts are not neurotypical. Because neurotypical is what's typical and normal. And I don't know about you, but has anyone ever made you feel normal for your psychic gifts, apart from other psychic people? Right? So we know it's a divergence. We know it's a divergence. And I think it's so interesting that in Sikhem they teach like it's 360, and then neurodivergent people tend to think in 3 dimensions, which is like the whole circle. Like you imagine the circle like a globe. We see the whole thing, which is why sometimes we make such a fuddle of trying to explain things, because we're trying to give everything all at once because we are not linear thinkers, because linear thinking does not come to us, which is another thing that gets us into trouble because we try to do it all at once. And that is where the archetypes can really, really help you, is that we can flip between the different archetypes and we don't have to do it all at once. So the priestess, accessing your priestess gifts are built on the foundation of self-trust, which is in your woman. And with faith, you can step into your priestess energy. And the more that you trust yourself, the easier it is to trust what comes through you. And you can start to open up your conduit more and more and more. So as you open up your conduit, the pillars of the unity consciousness framework that we teach in my world is the pillar of the soul and the pillar of service. So what really, really floats the priestess's boat more than anything is to be of service, right? Is to feel useful to this world. Now, the biggest problem is when the woman isn't fully embodied, unfortunately, that service starts to take on a really funky smell, and it starts to look like overgiving and servitude, right? Because, and let me know in the comments if you recognize the energy of overgiving, of stretching yourself too thin and self-sacrifice, right? So you're giving, giving, giving. And sometimes your woman's like, yeah, but when's it my turn to get some, right? And it's because we're in a state of overgiving. And so we're stretching ourselves too thin, we're overgiving, we're not able to fully embody the service of the priestess, because what happens is it's a very, very thin line. It's very subtle energies, these things, but it's a very thin line between service and servitude. service, our heart's full of joy when we're in embodied service. When we're in servitude, the joy, she left the building 5 minutes ago and now we're feeling terrible, right? We're feeling hard done by, we're feeling put upon, we're feeling taken advantage of. And without strong boundaries, we get into servitude instead of service. So it's really important. And I always remember this is something that really, really stuck with me because I always been a massive overgiver. And I had an even harder line with the overgiving to navigate because when I started to embody my woman, I realized that one of my strongest values of my woman was generosity, right? Which is so easy to get into overgiving with a generosity. I love being generous. I love generously giving. But there comes the point where you've given too much, right? And learning the subtlety of remaining on the right side of the fence, if you like, is an art form. It's a mastery in itself. It's a beautiful, beautiful journey. It's a beautiful mastery in itself. But there is this art form to it. But when you have one of your highest values is generosity, and generosity, when I'm really embodying generosity, it makes me feel abundant as fuck. I love the energy. I love the energy of being able to treat others, and give more than, was scheduled or whatever. Like, I love that energy. But when I was not fully embodied in my woman, I would go and do that energy that I loved so much, and then pop, I would be over the fence, and now I'd be in the realms of void energy, and I would be in the realms of like, now I'm cooked because I'm tired, I've overgiven, I've sacrificed, I said yes to a million people. And even though there was part of me that was like, had a really generous heart and really wanted to give generously, there would be another part of me that would be not looked after. So I would be pissed, right? And it's so important to understand that fine line within your own self. And this is one of the reasons why it's so important to get to know your woman, to embrace her haves and her have-nots, because that's what creates magic, absolute magic. So when you are in service, it is soul service. And why do you want to be in soul service? Well, let me tell you. Let me tell you why. Your soul already knows the way. It already knows the way. It knows what you need to do. It knows how you need to do it. And it knows what is right for you and what will get you the results. Your soul knows this already. It is not living outside of you. It is already living within you. That's why the sages, the gurus of old have always said it's already all within you. It literally is already all within you, right? But if we're not trusting ourselves, how can we hear it? Right? So we need to trust ourselves. Remember what I said about the outer validation. We can't be looking to other people going, what do you think? Right? It has to be, what do we think? Because the only one of us that can reach our soul fully, wholly, and completely is us. We can only reach our own soul that way, right? So we have to go in, and I always say go in and up, right? So you go in and then you go up into your higher levels of consciousness. In the priestess, she operates from soul self and she operates from higher self. So soul self and higher self is your ultimate guidance system. And now you can make way better business decisions. You can make way better decisions in your life because you're operating from these higher states of energy. And so we embody that. And as we embody that, we then can embody our service. And our service is that joy of giving for the sake of giving. And then we can enter something called the Great Exchange. So Siga Cigar said this the best. You can have anything that you want in this universe. You just have to help enough people to get what they want. And then you'll get what you want. And that is the embodiment of like energy attracts like energy. Now, here's the thing. What we do is we look at that statement that Siga Cigar said from the woman perspective and goes, oh, geez, I better get my maid outfit on then if I have to give to all these people, right? And we start to already feel the resentment and we already start to feel a bit cooked and we're like, oh, great. I mean, all I wanted was just a break in this life, and now I have to give to all these other people, but that's because we're looking at it through the lens of the woman. But if we look at it through the lens of um the priestess, we can really enter the true essence of the great exchange. So the great exchange says, what is the energy that you would like in the universe? So you might say, I want to be abundant. Okay, and the universe says, right, I have got abundance for you. In fact, I have a storehouse that is just jam-packed, floor to ceiling with abundance. It's sitting there, it's waiting for you. The moment you desired it, it was yours. Okay, now the universe says, I want to give you the key card so that you can access the storeroom of abundance. Okay, because we live in a universe where like energy attracts like energy. What you have to do is you have to put yourself on the frequency of abundance to be the conduit for abundance, right? Like energy attracts like energy. Now, what we do as a human and in our woman and in our human, we look at that from a skewed lens. We're like, well, I told that bitch that's trying to teach me manifestation that I wanted abundance, and I've told her I had no pennies in my bank account. So how am I supposed to do abundance, right? Like that's the woman, right? She gets all like, whoa, she's all mad now because she thinks abundance is now not for her. Because if like energy attracts like energy, well, I mean, where am I going to get abundance? I got no abundance. Like, oh, she's pissed, right? This is why women's not good idea for the manifestation gig, right? Because like we leave her at other stuff. Like she's perfect for other shit, but we got better players to play with to do the manifestation, like the priestess, right? But the priestess understands that like energy attracts like energy. So the priestess can say, what makes me feel abundant? What makes me feel abundant right now, right this second? So for me, that it was really easy. Generosity makes me feel abundant. But it's not any type of generosity. It's generosity with spaciousness. I had to be very specific with myself. And I realized if I had the spaciousness to be generous, I do not like being generous when my back is against the wall and I'm pressed for time, because that does not feel abundant, right? But it feels abundant when I have like the time and the spaciousness to really, like if I run over on and I'm very famous for this, running over on coaching calls. And if I run over on a coaching call, right? Like that is my gift to give my client. That makes me feel good. And if I have the time to do that for my client, I will do that for my client, right? If I have it. If I don't have the time, I have to finish at the time I have to finish. But if I have if I have the ability to give, I will give, right? If I felt that that client needed that, right? And so it's abundance with spaciousness. So if I embody abundance with spaciousness, whether I have 1 penny in the bank or whether I have 1 million in the bank, it matters not, because now I am on the frequency of abundance. And as I give, so shall I receive, and I will receive the corresponding energy, which has to be abundance. And I become the conduit by which I start bringing that in, right? Which is amazing. So what do you want to receive from the universe? Simply write it down. Once you've written down what it is that you want to receive from the universe, sit in the energy of receiving it. So imagine that you've already received it, and you imagine it and you think, okay, I've already received this. How does it feel? How does it feel? And you realize, oh, it makes me feel happy, excited, alive, makes me feel like I have purpose. And you can write all the descriptions of how it feels. Now, what that thing that you have wanted, what you have explored, is the energetic address of where it lives. So now you know the metaphysical location of where you can reach that thing, right? So whatever description you have, and now you go, and now you've explored all the energy and the unseen realm. Well done, you. Now we go over to the seen realm, because remember, we've got anchor and manifestation into the seen realm, and we go to the seen realm and we say to our woman / priestess, we say to both of them, we say, What would make us feel these things now, today? Not wait until we had got the thing. What would make us feel the thing now? And we can come up. So for me, when I wanted to create financial freedom in my life, and I thought about what that financial freedom would feel like in my body, and I thought about what it would feel like to have it now, the energetic address that I got was I would have a sense of freedom, I would have a sense of joy, I would have a sense of hopefulness, I would have like real like love in my heart, like I would feel like happy and excited and engaged and to a certain degree challenged, because I actually really like being challenged. And so and I realized, and I went to my woman and my priestess and I said, right, girls, what you got for me? What gives us that now? And for me, the answer was immediate: coaching and teaching. I love coaching. I love teaching, and it puts me on the same vibe as financial freedom. And now I've got what I can give to the world. I give my coaching and I give my teaching. And I make sure that I stay on the right side of the energy. I do not go into servitude. I stay in service. And as long as I stay in service, I am an energetic match for all that I desire. Very simple, very easy. But can only happen through your priestess fully, 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 fully. Because your priestess has the ability to fully embody that joyful service. And this is why it's so important to never do anything that you don't really want to do. And that comes right back to what I was saying yesterday about getting selfish. Because every time that you cross that energy divide into void energy, you are shooting yourself in the foot. Because like energy attracts like energy. So Shannon here has said the words disgruntled servitude, right? Oh, I know her well. That was my earlier businesses. My earlier businesses, I had a lot of disgruntled servitude in there, right? And every time I was doing that, every time I was engaging in that, the universe was mirroring me. So what the universe does is it mirrors what I call your basal energy. What is basal energy? Your basal energy is the energy base on which you are standing on. So if you are in disgruntled servitude, the base energy is disgruntled servitude. It does not mean a single thing in the metaphysics what you are doing in service in that moment. The fact that you are disgruntled means that you are now in void energy, and the only thing that you can code for and the only thing that you are attracted or attractive for and attracting in is more void energy, because you are in disgruntled service. It doesn't matter that you have now embodied freaking Mother Teresa and you are giving to the poor and you are helping the sick and you are healing the motherfucking world. That will not be returned to you. What will be returned to you is that at the bottom of all of that energy is your own disgruntled service, and you're in servitude. So what you will get from the universe is more opportunities to be disgruntled and more opportunities to be in servitude. And this is why so many spiritual entrepreneurs fuck themselves. Because we are natural born givers. And we want to give, and we want to heal the world, and we have all of these desires to do this. But the problem is our leadership of ourselves is so poor. It is so broke that we continue to give from an energy base of void, and then we scratch the back of our heads and wonder why the void comes up, And you know what's even worse? We tell ourselves the statement, but I'm a good person. So surely I deserve a break, but I'm a good person. And the universe, she's loving that you're a good person and not at the same time, because you're not a good person to yourself, because you're in disgruntled servitude. And so the universe can only mirror your basal energy. It can't mirror anybody else's energy. It can only mirror yours. Never mind that you've made 50, 1,000, 500, 200, 3,000 people happy. That doesn't, unfortunately, it sounds weird, but in the metaphysics, it doesn't count for helping you in that moment, because your own energy was in disgruntled servitude. And so this is why it's so important that we maintain our energy at a high integrity value. We are in integrity with our own energy. And I'm going to recap on integrity a little bit, because integrity is a word I see bounded about, and very few people seem to fully understand what integrity really is. Integrity is not about any other human, like no other human. It's not about any other human integrity. Integrity is about you and you, right? Are you in integrity with yourself? No one can decide whether you are in integrity or not. A lot of people have these convoluted ideas about what integrity is, and that integrity is something that somebody else can tell you whether you have it or not. No, nobody else can literally tell you. You can say, oh, I think that person works with a lot of integrity. Great. But the truth is, whether they work with integrity or not is not for somebody else in the outer world to judge or see, because it will soon come to light whether that person is working with integrity or not, because it's their relationship with themselves. Are they being true to themselves? Are they leading themselves well? And if the answer is no, then they're out of integrity with themselves. And when they're out of integrity with themselves, chances are they're also going to be out of luck for whatever it is that they're wanting to manifest or create in their lives. But here's the thing. The good news is that we can create beauty, we can create impact, we can create whatever it is that we want in our lives and be in joyful service doing it. Joyful service doing it. So Ferris here is saying, I have that day job, and while I appreciate the stability of it, that it feels so wrong and it feels draining, and I try hard to have integrity while I need it and keep it. So here's where we're navigating a very fine line in the metaphysics, right? We know that in the future, we want to let go of that job, okay? But we also know that we like to eat and pay rent, right? And not live in a cardboard box under a bridge, right? So it comes down to, what do we like most, right? I personally prefer to be paying the bills and having a roof over my head. I don't know about you, but that feels way more integrity than giving up the day job that I don't like and living under a bridge, right? So it's a very, very subtle energy. You're still in integrity by going to the job because you're doing what's right for you. That's your woman. You need to take care of your woman first and foremost. If you do not take care of your woman, you are not being a good custodian of yourself. And if you're not being a good custodian for yourself, all bets are off for the other two archetypes, because the foundation of the other two archetypes are relying on your woman, because you are a woman first and foremost. So if your foundations of your woman are not good, then embodying the priestess becomes so much harder. And even hearing what the goddess has to say is like you're deaf to her. You can't hear her. It's like you've gone deaf to her. And so when we are embodied, so sometimes being embodied means doing something that is in integrity for us as a woman, but out of integrity for us as a priestess. Because if you had a choice, you'd like to be giving it big licks in priestess mode. But we'll get there. We'll get there, right? But the thing is, there's also another element to this is that when you do get there, your appreciation for that is going to be so much larger because you've lived the contrast, but you live the contrast with purpose. You live the contrast, not for just shits and giggles and because you felt like you deserved it and you felt like you deserved a bit of punishment. So let's go to the day job I'm not loving so much. It was, you did it with purpose so that you could stabilize your woman. That's integrity in my book. You have to decide whether it's integrity for you or not, because I can't decide that for you. And that's why it comes back to, so it's learning. I think the fact that you're willing to show up for yourself in that way shows great self-trust. It shows that you are willing to do something for yourself. Like, I don't know about you, but if you had a friend that was willing to go that extra mile for you and work a job that you didn't like for you to make sure that you were okay, I would say that that's a pretty good fucking friend. I would say that they were doing me a solid. And if that person is you, then you're doing yourself a solid. Can you see that you're doing yourself a solid? Because something's got to give, right? That's another one of Skylar's lessons. Something's got to give. Are you willing to give yourself the praise and the recognition for the solid that you're willing to do yourself, right? And so moving into the embodiment of the priestess, moving into the embodiment of the priestess is learning to soul leadership. So in my world, we teach soul leadership in Be Your Own Rescue. That's where we teach soul leadership. We teach you to lead from your soul and allow your soul to be the guidance system. So tapping in, tuning inwards, running everything by yourself through your internal world, not your external world, not looking for that outer validation, looking for that inner validation. We teach you how to step into your own leadership, because leadership is important, because you have to realize and recognize that if you want success in life, you have to be the one to lead yourself. Yes, you can hire the coaches. Yes, you can hire the guides. Yes, you can hire the mentors. You can do all of that, right? But here's something that I see time and time again, and I see this many times. People have come into my world, and I'm sure that this has happened to some of you guys as well, right? Like in your own journeys, is you've hired a coach and then you're disappointed in that coach because you didn't get the result that you wanted, right? And then what happens is that people enter the blame game. Well, it's that coach's fault. Now, in the early days of me hiring coaches myself, I played that game. I played that game, right? And I played that game right up until I had the epiphany and the realization I have to be the one to lead myself. And at the end of the day, I have to take radical personal responsibility over my results. It can't be my coach's fault. And if I have access to a coach and I am not utilizing that resource as a resource, I'm just like, feed me. I'm waiting. Feed me. And there is no leadership, so you're just waiting to be spoon-fed, then it's not a two-way street and there's no leadership coming from yourself. So it's learning. So part of self-leadership is learning to ask intelligent questions. What do you need? Learning to become the ability to assess your business without judgment and going into beating oneself up mode, because then we're back in the woman and we're beating ourselves up now. Staying in your priestess and going, okay, we want to grow this business. Great. We have a goal. We have a vision. Fabulous. What do I need next? Right? What do I need next? What do I need next to go? What's my next step here? And so you look at what your needs are, right? And then it is your job to communicate your needs. And if you're in a coaching relationship, then it is also your job to communicate those needs to your coach and say, hey, you know what? I need help in this area. Now, nobody can determine where you need the help but you. You have to be the one to lead yourself. And what happened to me when I took that responsibility, not only did I start to see all my past coaching relationships that I'd had with other coaches that I'd hired and thought were crap, I started to see them through a different lens and realized, actually, hang on, wait a minute, they're not that crap. I've actually learned some stuff, but I'm now learning in hindsight. And I actually missed opportunities because I could have asked them like really intelligent questions and I chose not to because I didn't know it was an option because I hadn't given myself that option. So I was like, fuck. And then in my coaching relationships moving forward, I entered those relationships in a much, much better energy. And this is one of the reasons why I will always say to people in my world, never ever purchase a single thing from me if you think you should learn this from me, right? I call it a case of the shoulds. Do not purchase from me if you think that you should learn this. Because if you are saying to yourself, well, I should really learn this, what that means is that you have no desire to learn that. And the chances of you showing up for yourself in that container, slim to none. Save your money. Here's the thing. Here's the energy that I want people to purchase from when they purchase from me and they enter into a relationship and a coaching relationship with me is I want you to be in the energy of desire. I desire to learn from this woman. I desire to learn what she has. I desire to learn these things. That desire will make all the difference into your results. If you are showing up in the energy of should, you've put the gun to your head, you've put pressure on yourself, you're going to, when it inevitably doesn't work out because you didn't really want to be there, you're going to look for someone to blame. It'll be the person that you're in the relationship with if you're not willing to take radical personal responsibility. So it'll be their fault that you never got the thing that you wanted. And you'll continue to stay outside the loop of your own power. Your power already exists. It's not negotiable. It's not up for debate. You already got it. You got everything that you need in order to create the greatness that you want. You have to lead yourself to the greatness. So when you enter into a coaching relationship from the energy base of desire, I desire to learn this, I desire to be here. Guess who's sitting in front of the class taking fucking notes? I want to be here. What else you got for me? Okay, I'm formulating questions. I need to be asking questions here. I need to be engaging in the information here, right? Because it becomes a two-way street and you begin to lead yourself. Remember, I am magic, but I can't think and feel for you. And I'm very upfront with the people in my world about that, which is why people in my world get amazing results. And it's also why I do not do the one and done in the bigger containers that I offer. We offer lifetime access in those containers. And the reason is because there's a level of mastery. And many people arrive and they're maybe not always ready for the mastery. Well, I got time. It's okay. I'm not going anywhere. I'm good. Let's do several rounds of this until these lessons fully land and that you can begin to walk your own journey of embodiment with them. And I will walk with you every single step of the way and support you. This is why I've got women in my world who have been with me for 8 years, 9 years, 10 years. Next year it'll be 10 years. I'll have women who are still coaching with me, who's still in my world, still showing up in my programs, still taking the live rounds of my programs, and they've been going for years. And it is such a great, great pleasure to be able to offer that. Such a powerful, great pleasure to be able to offer that to the women in my world. So when people invest in my world, they're not just investing in something that they will do once. They're investing in something that you can return to again and again and again and will often grow with you because I'm always growing and I'm always adding new things and adding new dimensions and new levels to what it is that I'm teaching and sharing with you. But here's the thing, you have to be the one that leads yourself. And in that embodiment of that, you will become the one that leads yourself. It's your results. And when you become obsessed with your results, you will gain your results. And it will be through that priestess energy that you will gain those results. My job is to be a light bearer, a torch bearer, and to shine the light into your journey, to give you ideas and clues of how it can look. But your job is to ultimately make the choices and the decisions that will lead you to the greatness. I can tell you what choices and decisions I made, and they can illuminate your path and they can help you in that road to greatness. But ultimately, that road to greatness has to be your creation. You have to choose for yourself. And it's a really, really hard thing because I always cringe in the online world. I see so many coaches and they'll be like, I'll guarantee you results. And I'm like, way to take personal power from someone. Way to take personal power from someone. If any coach says, I guarantee you results, I run in the opposite direction. Because what that coach is saying with that statement is, I'm going to take personal responsibility for you. You don't even need to think in my container because I will take that responsibility. We think it's a good thing, but it's not. Because ultimately, what happens is the moment that that coach withdraws their energy, withdraws that energy, the energy is not there anymore. Guess what? Guess who you're going to be left with? Me, myself, and I. It'll just be you there on your Todd. And now that influence of power is no longer there. And now things aren't great anymore. What I prefer is to teach people to reach their own greatness through self-leadership so that when you get the result, it is your result and not relying on anything else but you. So therefore, you will be able to maintain that result and keep going and build on that result and get even better results, and then build on that result and get even better results, and build on that result and get even better results. But the truth is, you don't actually need other humans in your world. You just need yourself to be able to get the results that you want, because you're able to lead yourself there effectively. And good leadership means sometimes outsourcing things. Good leadership means sometimes looking and saying, hey, hang on a minute, I don't know how to do this. Who around me knows how to do this in a good way that I can learn from? That's leadership as well. But ultimately, how you learn and how you choose to learn and who you're learning from, that all has to come from you. Like, you have to lead yourself. So it's a style of dependency, right? It's not self-leadership. It creates dependency. I'm not looking to make anyone in my world dependent on me. It's very anti-business. I love it when you guys get your wings and begin flying, right? Because for me, that means I've done my job well, and I've given, hopefully, light and confidence in your own energy, and for you to do that. And I hope that we continue to walk together in all of the containers. And I hope that we continue to, and I hope I get to get that front row seat to your greatness and to your expansion. And I hope I get to share in the joy and excitement as you're expanding and creating in your life. But I would never, ever take my clients' achievements and say they were mine. They're co-creation, but they're 100% my clients because they led themselves there every single time. And it's so important to me. It's so important. And it's another thing that, it's my own little judgment, but it's another thing that makes me hardcore cringe when somebody is like, like they're listing their clients' achievements as though it was like them that did it. Unless you're offering a done for you service, like, no. Please give your client credit because they worked hard for it, And I know that each and every one of you, when you are achieving, you've put the work in, because that's what gets the results. You have to do the work. And that's what creates the magic. But it also creates new levels of self-belief and new levels of self-knowing, right? And that's the beginning of the path of the embodiment of the priestess. Because how can you know yourself if you're not willing to know yourself, right? You have to know yourself to know yourself. And when you know yourself, you begin to birth the goddess. And tomorrow we're going to go into the goddess energy. And we're also, because we banged on enough about it today, about self-leadership and questions, we're going to have a bit of Q&A tomorrow as well. So we'll give you an opportunity to do some Q&A. If you are interested in looking at my Be Magic Academy, where we go deep into all of these teachings, I am literally skimming the surface of what we teach inside the Be Magic Academy. I'm just popping the little link in for our Be Magic Academy. The Be Magic Academy, we call it the Be Magic year, but it's not a year. You will get a year in our temple in the Be Magic Academy, but then you will get access to the 4 pillars of unity consciousness, the 4 courses, which are unity for the self, which is all about your woman, your soul service, which is the Be Your Own Rescue course, and the Divine Planning Abundant Profits to help your priestess and help you embody the energy of your priestess. And then you get the pillar of source, which is our light web program, and you become light web activated. And you get lifetime access to those courses. So although we call it the Be Magic year, if you enter in the Be Magic year, it means you get access in 1 year to all the courses, but we are not done, because the following year after that, you get to come along on any of the live rounds that we do. You get lifetime access to the course material and the previous replays and things are all there for you to view 24/7, 365 days a year. So you can go through any of the content. Many of the women in my world tend to just cycle through the content. In fact, one of the ladies said that there's a little mini course that I've got that's you get it as part of Divine Planning Abundant Profits. And she says, I just take myself through that every 30 days. It's become my journaling practice. And I just take myself through that little course. And every 30 days I start again. And it's just become part of my morning routine and my morning practice. And it's just a little kind of mini course. It takes about 5 minutes each day, but it's something that she's incorporated, which is really nice. The way that we teach, or the way that I hope that I teach, is to create an embodiment. An embodiment means that it becomes what you do, as opposed to I learned this and then I must do it. It's an embodiment is like, this is what I do now. So that means that it becomes part of you and it becomes natural. And the reason why I teach in that way is that we don't get a millionaire, we become a millionaire. We don't get success, we become successful. It's who we become. So there has to be an element of embodiment to these things. And so therefore they have to become daily practices within ourselves to create that really powerful base. So if you have any questions on the Be Magic Academy, then please let me have them. Helen here is saying such a magnificent base. You can have it all that you can imagine, like a sparkly stream flowing straight to your vessel and overflowing with goodness. Unmatched in richness, as sure as the rain keeps replenishing and providing substance. Oh my God, that's beautiful. Thank you so much. I'm so touched by that. Thank you so much. So the Be Magic Academy also comes with a lot of little extras and things like that. So we have got monthly calls, which are trainings that are exclusive to the Be Magic Academy as well. And in your Be Magic year, you will get 12 of those trainings in addition as well. So it is a large investment, but if you look at it as an investment that is something going to pay dividends for years to come and help you to really navigate your woman, priestess, goddess, and really help you to navigate all of those things, then the Be Magic Academy could be for you. We do sell the courses individually as well. So if you have, this has brought up things for you like, yeah, I could maybe do with learning a bit more leadership, then we recommend Be Your Own Rescue. If your woman has been the thing that you're like, yeah, my woman really needs some TLC, Unity is the place for you, and the temple. Those are 2 places I would recommend for your woman. If you feel like, no, I need business strategy, I need some new strategy for my business, then Divine Planning Abundant Profits is the place for you. And tomorrow we're going to talk about the goddess, and we're going to talk about source and source connection. And of course, in my world, that is the fabulous light web, which is intergalactic. But that is for tomorrow, and I can't wait to share the final installment of the goddess. Thank you so, so much for joining us on tonight's training. I hope that you really, really enjoyed this, and I will speak to you guys soon. Bye now.